and welcome back to the Website Masterclass. Today I'm going to give you 10 of the most useful things you need to know when choosing your web domain name. But before I do, if you haven't done so already, please hit that subscribe button and give this video a like to show your support. This helps us out massively, so thank you. Okay, so let's get you started. Here are 10 vital tips to choosing a web domain name. Number 1, find the right name. One of the most important decisions in establishing an online presence is choosing a domain name. The right domain name is so important for your website, for both search engines like Google and the audience you want to attract. You don't want to choose a name that is following a trend of today. If you are thinking long-term, it will still need to make sense 10 or 20 years from now. The first thing you want to do is find a place that sells these names. We use GoDaddy. GoDaddy is the most popular web domain company in the world, and they are cheap. You can buy a great domain name for your website for less than $12 a year, so go check them out. I'll leave a link in the description down below. Here you can see which names are already taken, and it also gives you alternative options that are available in case your first choice is already in use. Number 2, choose a name that is easy to type and remember. Even if you plan on optimizing the site for search engines, you still want a domain name that people can remember and type. Avoid strange spellings of words or use of multiple characters and numbers. Anyone hearing your name should know how to type it without you having to say things such as the number 4 and --. You should also avoid words that have more than one spelling if your visitors are likely to be confused and mistype the name. You want to keep it simple. And while you do want a short name, you don't want to go for something so cryptic that people won't be able to remember it or spell it. Which brings us to number 3, buy a name that is short rather than long. The longer your domain name is, the harder it will be for people to remember it. Shorter names are always going to get more visitors. The internet has been around for a while now, so more single word names are long gone. But you can still avoid longer domain names by being a little creative. For example, try adding an extra short word into the name itself. For example, let's put something like domainguide.com. As you can see, this isn't available. But let's change this to yourdomainguide.com. And there you go, and at a super cheap price too. Number 4, use .com if you can. Most people think a website domain ends with .com. However, there are so many different extensions you can use, such as .co.uk or .net or .gov. Each extension has a different meaning. .gov is for government websites, whilst .co.uk targets people living in the UK. .com is universal. It targets people worldwide and is the most popular domain extension. So if .com is available, in most cases, this is the one you want to use. Number 5, avoid trademark names. If your purpose in buying a trademark term as a domain name is to try to confuse people, you're opening yourself up to having a complaint filed against you and having to give up the domain name. Even if you're not trying to create confusion, you're likely to face some legal challenges by buying trademark terms in your domain name. Be original and don't try to copy someone else's name. It just doesn't work. Which also brings us to number 6. Don't buy a name similar to someone else's. Even if the term isn't trademarked, don't buy domains that are just a variation of another domain name. This also means avoiding plurals, such as turning Amazon.com to Amazons.com. Trust me, people have asked for things like this over the years, and it's just super unprofessional. Stick to your own brand and you'll do just fine. Number 7, try to avoid those hyphens. Yes, using hyphens to separate words does make them easier to read and remember. It also makes it somewhat easier for search engines to read those words as well. However, in the world of websites and domain names, people often forget about using hyphens when searching for a website or typing its name in the address bar. If you do need to use hyphens in your domain name, make sure you limit yourself to no more than 2. Any more than that and it is going to look messy. Number 8, avoid numbers. Avoiding numbers in your domain name will avoid confusion. People can get confused about whether the number is a digit 3 or a word 3. If you want a number in your domain name because there's a number in your company name, buy both versions, digit and word, and redirect one to the other. For example, your company is called Studio 365. So you would want to buy both www.studio365.com and www.studio365.com. Have one as the main site and set the other name as a redirect. I will put a link in the description to a video showing you how to set up the redirect. Number 9, check social media first. When you have a name picked out, go see if that word or phrase is available on social media sites like Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. If you are planning to build a brand, you want to make sure this brand is available and that you can use the name across the other social networks. There is nothing more confusing than a company that has one name for their website, another name for their Facebook page, and another name for their Instagram page. Their online presence is scattered and the visitor will have trouble finding a connection between the networks and brand. And number 10, use a domain name generator. This is a kind of helper that you can use if you're finding it hard to come up with a cool domain. These tools are very simple to use but also surprisingly helpful. All they need is one keyword that best describes what your website is going to be about, and in return, they give you tens or even hundreds of suggestions full of valid and available domain names that you can register right away. It's a great way to get inspiration for your next website name, and I will leave a link in the description for a domain name generator that you can use for free to help you get started. So there are 10 of the most useful things you need to know when buying a domain name. Don't forget to let me know your thoughts, and those of you that have found a great website name already, write it in the comments below and I will give you my feedback on what I think. Also, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to Website Masterclass, and I will be back to show you the best and cheapest website hosting packages for your brand new website.